Welcome back. This week we're going to tie a Coffin Fly. A couple of weeks back I said, when we did the green drake, that I said we would get into the Coffin Fly. This is obviously the spinner of the green drake. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. Go ahead and get zoomed in. And I did mention when I tied the green drake that I wouldn't tie it how I did in that video. A lot of it would be I would tie the actual adult how I tie the spinner these days, and I will wind up tying that video eventually, or I will wind up tying that fly for the video eventually. But we're going to do the Coffin Fly here. All over the place today. I'm all over the place. I feel like I'm really unorganized, but that's alright. We'll get it. You guys just have to bear with me. So I'm going to take some Coke de Leon fibers on this one and measure this out, the length of the hook just slightly longer, and go ahead and tie this in. I'm not going to divide these. I'm not going to get fancy with the tail at all. And this is on the same hook that I tied the green drake adult on, not the spinner. This is just a size 12 4X long streamer hook, ring eye. Go ahead and get this tied in. And these just do not want to cooperate, so I'm going to try and straighten this out some, just so it looks good on camera. It's not really going to matter once it gets wet, and once it's on the water. I just want it to be going straight back and look good for the camera. So the next thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to come up to where my wings are going to be, and I'm just going to take some regular Parapost wings, pure white. I know you guys that are watching this that are familiar with the Coffin Fly, their wings aren't pure white. I know that. Just bear with me. It's going to make sense in a little bit. Don't go giving me too much hell. So I'm just going to clean this up. I'm going to take one strand of this and I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to tie this on here. I'm probably going to take half of what I would normally work with. And I'm just going to throw this around the loop, and I'm just going to stand these up for now. They're going to stay right like this. I'm not dividing them, I'm not putting them spent. I just want these tied in place. That's all I want. And I have minimal bulk with that. You can see I took the one wrap around the actual wings themselves, and then I secured them to the hook. They're not going anywhere. They're tight. They're on there. But I have minimal bulk with that. That's all by design. So now we're just going to take this, and I'm going to come right to the front, right behind my wings. And then I have some white deer belly hair, the longest fibers that I could find, and this helps with flotation, and it's the absolute perfect color, profile, everything. So I'm going to measure this out to where it goes just past the hook, right past the bend. I'm probably going to go a quarter the length of my tail. So I'm going to measure this out, and I'm going to cut this clean right here. There we go. This fly is almost impossible to sink. I'm going to cut that nice and square, and I'm going to set that right behind my wings. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this stuff down all around the hook. And then I'm just going to work this all the way back. Just like I'm wrapping a copper wire body or whatever it may be. Just one wrap in front of the, not a body, like a copper rib or something like that. I'm just going to work this all the way back, and this is going to serve as my body. So then when I get to the end, I'm going to go 1, 2 secure wraps, and that's going to flare that back section out a little bit. And that's just going to help for the overall flotation on this fly. I probably got a little more flared than what it needs to be, but that's just going to help for the flotation. So when this big fly hits the water, it's not going to have a tendency to sink. So the most important thing on this is take a look on the underside, make sure that your hook isn't showing. And actually, I'm going to back this off. I did flare that a little bit too much. Go ahead and make that loose and just start wrapping on the opposite side and then cinch down. So you're just making X's on your deer hair body. And it's not opposite colored. I mean, everything's white, so I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. But there it is. There's the body that you're after. And I know white and shooting on video, just, it gets fuzzy. I haven't found out a way to do it. I'm still frustrated with it, but just bear with me. I know it's fuzzy. And then we're going to go ahead and just clean up with some thread wraps any of this loose stuff right behind our wing case. Still keeping these stood up. Still standing these straight up. Coat de Leon's wanting to split on me a little bit there. Just wet my fingers, see if that helps out at all. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's still not perfect, but it's all right. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I need to get my dubbing out here as well. Where's my black at? I don't have it. Well, I'm sure it's up here somewhere. There we go. There's the black dubbing. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the green drake. I'm going to have a very short section, or a very small black hackle that I'm going to put in here. And this is just going to be an accent. If you look at these, the thorax forward to the head has a very distinct black section. And in all honesty, it does not matter, because when you're fishing this, it's dark out. It's dark. The only thing that you're after is a profile on a fly that's not going to sink. That's the only thing that you're after. But we're going to try and stay true to, you know, being a fly tyer and trying to make these things look accurate. The only thing you really need is a profile, because it is dark when you're fishing these. A profile and something that's going to stay afloat. That's all you are after. I should have tied that black in second, but that's all right. It'll be all right. Let me get this Grizzly done. I'm going to tie this in second. This is a newer Hackle. You'll be able to tell for sure because it's so much longer than the old Hackle. I'm going to come right in front of the wings and I'm going to tie this. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take these wings and I'm going to lay them down spent. So I'm just going to figure 8, and don't cut these. I know it's long right now. Don't cut them. Just keep them long. It's going to help when you're wrapping your hackles. It's going to help overall with your other materials. If they're longer, they don't seem to get in the way as much. If they're shorter, you tend to trap some of the shorter fibers that come with it. So just keep them long for now. So there you can see, I mean, those are insanely long wings. Don't worry, we're going to trim those up. Next up, what we're going to do with this is we're going to take some black dubbing and work right through here. Very small amount. We're going to work right through the thorax. I'm going to dub this up. And the same as always, when I work with the dubbing, as little as necessary. And I'm just going to take and go right to where I left off with the deer hair. Figure 8 through the wings. That's going to give you a little bit more reinforcement. It's going to help separate your wings a little bit more. Peel them back and then go right to the eye of the hook, just shy of the eye. Keep your wings separated. And now, because I tied these in the opposite direction that I actually want to wrap them, I'm going to bring the black in front. Oh, get over here. Peel your wings forward so you can get 2 good wraps of black. Bring them back, go right in front of them. And this just helps with the flotation, it really does. And you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to clip these on the top and bottom. This just helps with the flotation. It's something that you can throw some floatant on and helps keep a fly this size afloat. And the main thing that does that obviously is the hollow body on the deer hair. That's the main thing. You can really fish this thing without any floatant, but if you want to, you can throw some on the actual hackles like you do a typical dry fly. Let's pull all of this stuff forward. Give it 2 good wraps in the back. Peel your spent wings off to the side. And then just take this right to the front. Go ahead and tie this off, leaving yourself a lot of room to whip finish and everything. It doesn't have to be right next to the eye. Leave yourself a lot of room, and I got a couple of fibers there that I'm going to trim off. So I'm going to flip this around and trim off any of this stuff that's garbage. It's just in front of the eye of the hook. I'm going to bring my spent wings off to the side. Find a black marker here. Touch up my white thread that I'm tying with. Now before I trim my wings, what I'm going to do, and I know it's really tough to see the hackle because I have such just crazy wings and everything, I'm taking this stuff right over the top. Boom. Trim that up. Flip this on the opposite side and trim this flush. So now all of my hackle is going into my spent wings. So now to trim these, I'm going to bring them down to the bottom. I'm going to measure with my scissors the length of the hook. I'm going to measure the length of the hook. And I'm going to trim. Go ahead and spread those out. And that's just for reference. You can eyeball it. You can do whatever you need to do, whatever you get comfortable with. That's just for reference. I measure the length of the hook with my scissors, the length of the hook down, and I trim them, and then I just bring them back to the side. But there is the Coffin Fly. I know it's tough to see. There's the Cote de Leon that I have right there in the back. It's tough to see just because of the colors and everything. But there it is. There is the coffin fly that I would tie and fish nowadays if I were still living back in Pennsylvania. If you guys have any questions, comments on this one, leave them with me. I will get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next week.